Not too long ago, Adin Ross gave his fans a heads up he was about to get sued.
Being sued by like people that like I was like, damn, like that's family, you know? By the way, I got somebody who's trying to sue me right now for $10 million. Good luck. And you know who you are? Good luck. You don't even have real paperwork. You were never a real whatever profession you were to me. Good luck in court. And I'm gonna countersue you. So you're probably bluffing, but I'm gonna countersue, so get ready. I promise you, I will bury you in the courtroom. Don't f with me.
Everyone figured out the person suing him was going to be his longtime friend and former bodyguard, Ant.
I don't know, and you haven't explained this, obviously, but the Ant situation.
Yeah, I can't speak on that right now.
Okay.
But Adin filed a lawsuit against him first. Adin wanted a judge to declare that Anthony Nails never worked personally for Adin Ross because Adin alleged he paid Anvil Protection LLC. Also, that any gambling debt between him and Ant be wiped out because it's illegal.
Somebody that threatened to sue me for years, I'm suing them finally. It's just backfired. It's insane. I'm suing somebody who has no paperwork of ever being legit. And they're gonna lose in court. It's that simple. And now I'm gonna get what I want out of this. They should have really, you mess with the bull, you get the horns. And I swear.
No, from that lawsuit, we learned that Ant was making as much as $25,000 a week. In addition, Adin highlighted that he bought Ant a Lamborghini.
If y'all didn't have cameras on there, I probably would have cried.
But what if that Lamborghini was not really a gift and it was a form of payment for Ant? Why would Ant sue Adin Ross? That's the million-dollar question. Anthony has responded to Adin Ross's lawsuit. In addition, his answer, he now officially is suing Adin Ross. The lawsuit may be for a small amount of $263,000 with the potential to balloon well over $1 million, but it exposes something that could end Adin Ross's career and credibility in the streaming community. Anthony is not just making some blanket allegation that Adin Ross rigged bets on NBA 2K stake.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
Even provided text messages from Adin confirming the allegation.
Boy, ain't no fucking way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy.
Along with the copy of the NDA he refused to sign. He also is suing Adin Ross for defamation. One thing we can all agree is that Adin Ross has proven to trust those he should have not in his career. In the last video, I showed him buying Prime his own apartment.
As your brother, I've known you since 2016. I wanted to come and like literally save your life, bro. So I went out and got you an apartment, bro, for a year, locked, rent-free.
And now Prime has essentially ruined his career, crashing out on Neon Stream.
A few moments later.
Why are they carrying him like this?
It's really, really sad to me. I've known Prime for years, over 10 years, probably more than I've known anyone on this internet shit. And I know the type of person he is, and he's got a good heart.
What?
And I'm not trying to cop him out and shit like that, but bro, like this shit sucks, bro. It sucks seeing this shit. It sucks him going around saying shit to white people. It sucks him going around just harassing people, being drunk. And at the end of the day, bro, I tell you guys this, bro. This is somebody who cannot handle their alcohol.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
He tried to help Lieutenant Dan turn his life around.
We were able to come up. I'm gonna be able to pay for a boat for you. We're gonna get you a nice boat in the range of $50,000 to $100,000. And we're gonna get you a full-time kick deal, which is a live streaming deal where you can stream your entire voyages and all your adventures. And you could have a passive income come in.
Wow.
Only for him to say the N-word in the first hour of his new stream.
But if you want to get back into my good graces, you're going to have to take time. Take a lot of work, and that's going to be hard. Because once I cut you off, you're done, nigga. Sorry.
I beg your pardon?
Adin Ross is either a poor judge in character or has the worst luck ever picking people to be in the circle. I imagine he likely regrets hiring Nails. Now comes the story of Anthony Nails, the bodyguard friend turned enemy. I said it would be interesting if Ant responded to the lawsuit, and he finally has. Before we get into Ant's lawsuit of suing Adin Ross, let's cover his answer to him being sued. Ant starts off his response with generally denying that Adin has been damaged. Then he does go into 15 defenses to get Adin's lawsuit dismissed. People may list a multitude of affirmative defenses to strengthen their case and increase their chances of winning. Affirmative defenses are, just legal arguments that introduce new facts or issues that could justify defendant's actions. The more viable defenses a defendant has, the stronger their case becomes. If a defendant does not claim legal defenses, they waive their right to use them in the lawsuit. 1. He says Adin failed to state a cause of action, but Adin did list 2 causes of action for declaratory relief. 2. Adin's lawsuit was ambiguous and vague. I mean, I guess. 3. Latches. Adin did not file fast enough, nor does he have a good reason for the delay. This case seems to be over a year old. 4. Adin's lawsuit is beyond the statute of limitations. This is completely false, as the statute of limitations is 6 years for declaratory relief. 5. Adin does not have a written agreement, and he should have. This is ironic because neither of them have like any written agreement, and yet both are suing each other over these oral contracts. 6. Estoppel. Adin's lawsuit contradicts what has been legally established to be true. This is a fancy way of saying Adin was working, he hired Ant to work for him personally. 7. Adin broke his word to Nails, ultimately waiving his right to sue. We can all be the judge of this later on in the video. 8. Consent. 9. Right to amend, which is odd considering this is usually the people's like last defense. 10. Election of remedies, which means Adin and Ant already remedied their issues, which would be the gambling debt and employment another way, but Ant does not mention any gambling debt in this lawsuit whatsoever against Adin. 11. Adin has unclean hands. This defense has been present in every lawsuit I've covered, from Rich Campbell suing Azalea Lexi to XQC and Adept. 12. Failure to join indispensable parties, meaning another party must be included or a lawsuit should get tossed out. Dun dun dun. Company coming. 13. Piggybacks on 12, implying Adin Ross is not the true party. Lastly, there is no controversy, but there is 100% of controversy, and also praise that the judge dismisses Adin Ross's lawsuit with prejudice so he could, never sue him again, and he wants his legal fees paid. For the lawsuit, Anthony Nails introduces another company, AR Media Productions LLC, and I bet the AR stands for like Adin Ross. In spite of making $25,000 a week, Anthony Nails is suing Adin Ross for violating various California labor laws. Lock him up!
Lock him up! He's a
failure to pay overtime, failure to provide meal and rest breaks, failure to keep and provide itemized wage statements, failure to reimburse, failure to pay all wages owed, failure to pay wages upon termination. Like, this is crazy, right? Unlawful business practices, breach of an oral contract. Guys, get everything written down. Breach of an implied fact contract, which is the same thing as an oral contract, breach of a quasi contract, and lastly, defamation. He opens the lawsuit stating that AR Media Productions LLC, which you will see as, ARMP, was at all times relevant to the facts. Anthony alleges that ARMP is the alter ego of Adin Ross and that Adin Ross controls this company, and there really is no difference.
Accusations!
Similar to when we saw Adriana Lee sue Mizkiff and his company Mizkiff Enterprises for defamation. He goes on to say that Adin Ross is using the company to perpetuate fraud and injustice, and then the courts allow him to continue to hide behind the company, it would prompt an injustice or protect fraud. Therefore, the courts must disregard the corporate entity to prevent fraud. This defeats the purpose of having like a company, as companies are used to eliminate personal liability. For example, right, no personal assets should be, listed in the company name as to protect them from judgment for lawsuits, so you don't lose your house in a lawsuit. If you put your house like in your company's name and then someone sues your company, and you could often lose the house. Oftentimes the judges will pierce the corporate veil if they deem it's necessary to render judgment to a particular victim. Let's get to Anthony's factual background, where the juicy stuff gets. Out the gate, Anthony says that Adin Ross and his company were his employer. Dun dun dun. Ant alleges he was a non-exempt employee and that Anvil Elite Protectives was not involved in his alleged hiring. Ant goes on to say that Adin and his company hired him and paid him through cryptocurrency wallet transfers. Who does that? Cryptocurrency payments is like new. So, I wonder, how that was negotiated, because cryptocurrency is synonymous with hiding income, mostly from the government. And details that he started July 15th, 2020 through June 23rd, 2023. He is sure to point out that how his wage and hourly claims only pertains to the 2 years in LA, and his breach of contract claims pertains to when he worked for Adin in Miami. Now, he brings up that he is licensed to carry a firearm in Georgia, which Florida recognizes, because they have reciprocity. And this does make it a question, was he carrying a firearm at any point in LA legally?
I think not.
Now let's get into the nitty gritty of the lawsuit. Nails states he worked more than 8 hours a day and 40 hours a week. Then he goes on to cite that he was not paid for legally inadequate meal periods. Also, Nails was not paid for any overtime for his hours worked, which violated California labor laws. In addition to not paying overtime, he also is accusing Adin of not paying him double time when he worked more than 12 hours a day. You would think that, someone making $25,000 a week would include overtime and double time, but no, it does not. This is a product of what happens when there is no paperwork and two people are operating on an oral agreement. And the next part of the lawsuit, it accuses Adin of not permitting him to take any 10-minute breaks or 30-minute lunch breaks within the first 5 hours of his shift. I'm not kidding, guys. I'm not. Just
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Also, when Nails would work over 10 hours, he was not granted a second meal period. In addition, he was not paid when he failed to take a lunch. Man, it's tough life for Ant.
You're a victim.
He goes on to say that Adin did not itemize the numbers of hours he worked. This is likely due to Adin saying, hey, I'm going to pay you $25,000 a week in crypto to protect me. Is that cool? Ant was like, sure. At no point during negotiation, I want to bet, do I think either party brought up breaks or lunch breaks or double time or overtime or holiday pay or anything like that, because there's going to be downtime for that, I bet. I bet there are at times where Ant only protected Adin a couple days out the week and he still received $25,000. He brings up the hours worked is incorrect in his vague wage statement, and Ant said he paid his salary, which Adin and his teams are likely going to argue that Ant was an exempt employee, meaning he got no overtime or double time. My check is the same every 2 weeks, whether I work 80 hours or 90 hours, it's the same. I'm an exempt employee. Nails also brings up reimbursement for use of his cell phone, travel expenses, and even parking. Like, look, this petty given this weekly salary, but in the corporate world, if I use my personal vehicle, I would get reimbursed. I think the going rate now, my company offers like 70 cents per mile I drive. The crux of this lawsuit though, is Nails was fired with no pay. Which I think is wrong. If Nails worked, he should have gotten paid. And then accused Adin of intentionally not paying him overtime or double time or providing lunch breaks or paying him more when he didn't take a lunch break. I strongly doubt Adin is familiar with the labor laws of California or any state for that matter, but if they're gonna say ignorance is no excuse. But again, he brings up that he was terminated without pay. Lastly, the flat out says that Adin should have known about the California labor laws in terms of tracking payroll, understanding that employees need to be reimbursed, and calling Adin out for having the money to pay, but choosing not to do so in order to increase his own profits. I mean, we know Adin got it. To summarize this portion of the lawsuit, before we get into the cause of actions, Nails benefited from their oral agreement for him to be an exempt employee, which means he operates outside of the Fair Labor Standards Act, meaning he's not entitled to overtime or lunch breaks, etc. I wonder, did he ever ask Adin for a lunch break or a 10-minute break, and Adin was like, nah, you gotta keep protecting me. Also, when he worked in Miami, was Adin all of a sudden giving him lunch breaks and double time? Probably not. The answer is likely no, because Ant's lawyer is using California law to his advantage. Now that he was fired, which you are going to further see is without pay, Nails wants to be considered a non-exempt employee and wants all his overtime and missed meal breaks and lost wages that he feels he was owed when he quit. His cause of actions are pretty straightforward regarding the violations of the labor laws, until we get into the 8th cause, breach of an oral contract, where Nails' legal team shoots themselves clearing the foot for the whole non-exempt employee angle, because you can't be like, oh, I'm in LA I'm a non-exempt employee, but in Miami I'm an exempt. Like, how do you make that like that transition per se? He talks about how he agreed to provide security and assistance services to Adin for $25,000 per week. If he was not an exempt employee, it should be like $25,000 per week at a rate of $625 per hour for a 40-hour work week to total $25,000. Nails agreed he did everything he was supposed to do, fulfilling this oral contract per se. Now he alleges he was not paid for the 11 weeks spanning from April 10th, 2023 through June 23rd, 2023, as well as reimbursement for Equinox Fitness Club membership, resulting in adinross owing him $263,000. Now, Nails could have gotten this money, but he would have to sign the NDA, which I will show. The NDA would have covered the entire time Ant worked for Adin, and I can't believe he never had him sign an NDA. But then again, when you consider someone like your friend and everything goes cool, maybe Adin got too comfortable and he didn't make him sign an NDA. It's interesting, his official last date of employment was June 23rd, considering on June 5th we saw a video of Adin buying Ant a Lamborghini.
My brother, love.
According to Ant, Adin Ross makes intentionally deceptive videos for financial gain. He implied that the Lamborghini was gifted to settle some debt and Adin had with Ant, and as opposed to appearing like it was an act of charity.
What made Ant stay when you could not pay him for like 2 months? I literally didn't pay you for 2 months and you stayed. So why? Why did you stay? There's been times, bro, where I've been banned and not making money and you took the hit and real shit, bro.
So in other words, guys, he's saying Adin Ross is fronting. All that charitable stuff he did for Ant, mind you, was for show and to settle a debt as opposed to just Adin being nice. And that video went on to get like millions of views. So, I can see how this played out though, right? Adin owed Ant money for services rendered. Instead of paying Ant the money, he buys a Lamborghini instead and shows everyone on YouTube. And Ant was like, thanks for the Lambo, but what about the money you owe me from the services rendered? Adin was like, look, I gave it to you and the Lambo, and I gave a lot of money to your family and friends at that baby shower of yours. They disagreed and Ant was fired shortly after. I can see both sides. Adin was like, look, man, he felt like Adin was probably very generous and, he took the gifts instead of, paying off the debt. But I bet Adin felt like Ant was, trying to take advantage of him. But, I'm just speculating. This is where, he accuses Adin of doing something illegal. He accuses Adin of rigging / point shaving during an NBA 2K tournament on stake that took place in July 2023, noting that Adin would place bets on stake while paying players to lose in real life. Ross even admitted to the conduct in the text messages. You trying to snitch on the 2K stuff? You really about to make me mad. I ain't never snitched or ish, especially no 2K. Who I snitched to? I wouldn't even know who to tell, lol. Did I supposedly talk to? I'm being serious. Who did I try to snitch to? You told the lawyer about the rigged 2K betting where we lost money on.
You got me.
This is crazy, right? Now, according to the text messages, Adin lost money doing, his bet rigging. However, how many times did Adin do this and make money? Second, how did Nails know about this happen, being that he stopped working for him about a month prior? As far as Nails snitching, yeah, it looks that way, but this gambling rigging piece was done as leverage to get Adin to settle. Him allegedly fixing games has nothing to do with Ant's lost wages. Looks like, Adin hasn't settled, right? So he goes on to bring up how this would jeopardize Adin's deal with Kick, which we know is backed by stake, where you see Eddie in Trainwrecks TV as a founder. Is this why people accuse Trainwrecks of gambling with fake money? Because he's one of the founders? It's like, is he always spending house money?
True, and yeah, that's pretty true.
After that, he goes on to accuse Adin Ross of defamation. You would think that this defamation is related to, Adin saying that Nails was not legally able to carry firearms or bringing up Nails' criminal record, but it's not. I guess Adin went on some stream to his 1.28 million followers and said Ant had put a contract on his head to be deleted. Now, the first news source that cites is Don Clips, which posted this.
And honestly, once I get permission from my lawyer, I'm exposing everything. I don't give a flying anymore. Come and get me. And if you want to put money on my head, you're gonna need a refund. Yo, I'm not gonna lie though, even if you do end up putting money on my head, I'm gonna just be honest, bro. I go 10 times harder. I'm rich. I'm richer than you. Try to put money on my head, it's gonna be way worse. So I'm gonna say, bro, it's not cringe, it's real shit. And if motherfuckers wanna take my life, say less. Motherfuckers know who took my life. And I'm gonna just say right now, we're gonna come back 10 times harder. Oh, I gotta talk my shit a little bit, bro. I gotta talk my shit a little bit. Nobody's untouchable, but it is what it is.
It's also picked up by Poetic Flacco, who covered the allegation on Instagram, as well as the Fallen Free Word on X, which goes by a new name. Nails said that the statement is defamatory because it asserts he was a criminal that put money on Adin's head. That's crazy. Nails contends that the professional and personal life was damaged from that statement, exposing him to hatred, ridicule, shame, discouraged for others from associating with him or dealing with him, which is probably likely true. He accuses Ross of recklessly making that statement to damage his reputation and to humiliate him worldwide. He claims Adin performed no investigation whatsoever to substantiate the accusation that Ant put money on his head. Nail contends that he lost wages and suffered emotional and general damage from Adin.
Emotional damage.
He ends the lawsuit praying for attorney fees, $263,000, and whatever the court deems necessary. And for the defamation, he wants general damages and special damages, in which both give no cap. We are at the termination agreement. The termination agreement is long, is wordy, you know, pause it if you really want to read it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a lot. The termination agreement was drafted June 20th, 2023 for the two to mutually agree to terminate Nails. The company was set to pay Nails $245,000 in exchange for Nails to agree to pay taxes on the money and that he is not owed anything else for AR Media Productions. In addition, upon agreement, Nails would also agree to sign an NDA, which is attached. Now the NDA is juicy. Nails would have to agree to, you know, that all the information obtained while working for Adin, you know, was confidential and he could not share it with any third parties, right? Also, agreeing to the termination agreement, he would mean that Nails could never sue Adin or even his children if he wanted to, like his estate. And if he wanted to, he would have to go through arbitration. Now, why is this termination agreement bad for Adin Ross? The termination agreement shows that Adin owed Nails $245,000. They may not agree on the amount owed to Nails, but they both agree Nails is owed some money. You know, well, in June 23, they did it, you know, they agreed, but like now they probably don't feel like they owe him nothing. Now comes the NDA with, you know, the same day. It's a little bit more detailed. You know, the requirements are that Nails cannot disclose any information on Adin Ross or the company. You know, this includes pictures, recording, text messages, nothing literally from the experience of working for Adin. Adin will have no interest in the property, which includes any information obtained, owned by the company, be it pictures, recordings, or even like the text messages shown in this lawsuit. Ant would not be able to give interviews or write books. If someone tried to get in to break the NDA, you know, the company, Adin Ross's company, will provide him a lawyer to keep that from happening. My favorite part that you see in all NDAs is you cannot tell anyone that you had an NDA. Also, should Ant had signed the NDA and broke it, he would have to pay Adin Ross company $2 million. Next, only the courts can reduce the scope or duration of the NDA. That's pretty standard. You know, should they have a dispute, they already go through arbitration and the arbiter makes the decision. Also, Ant could not conduct any public hearings. If Adin or the company had to fight over the NDA, the losing party pays the attorney fees. You know, all standard stuff. Lastly, this was a voluntarily NDA. You know, in closing, guys, this lawsuit may destroy any new clients from working with Ant on the grounds that he sued Adin and exposed intimate text messages. On the flip side, it does some damage to Adin's reputation, a little with, you know, the text messages, but his fan base is loyal. And, you know, what percentage of them will actually care if he rigged 2K games on stake or not?
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Now, from the outside looking in, Ant looks to be owed some lost wages. If he wasn't, you know, why would Adin's team have offered him money? What looks to be money owed for his security guard services. Will Adin Ross settle and pay Ant, or will he take it to trial in hopes of a victory?
Yeah, I'm gonna react to the court situation as well. I'm glad it leaked.
I will let y'all know. As of now, they do have a conference date set up for December 23rd, 2024. Peace.